You tired of hearing that USC fight song yet?
We don't need to start with him. What do you got, Chris?
Tired of hearing that fight song yet?
Yeah, matter of fact, I kind of am. Yeah. Good week of practice.
Yeah.
Guys practice hard.
I mean, there's a chance that they could only bring one scholarship quarterback up here. I mean, I know you talk about the system is more important than any guy, but does that really alter thinking?
Not even the slightest. That's not our issue. That's their issue. Like we just got to line up and play hard. Like what's going on the other side has nothing to do with nothing.
So their issue doesn't necessarily affect your ability to.
We got to defend a good quarterback just threw for over 300 yards. That's what we got to do.
Is there though a risk there when you know that they could be going to a person who hasn't taken a snap at quarterback? So do you think they might play a little bit more conservative on that end?
No, I think everybody's in this to win it. I don't think anyone comes up to play conservative and make sure like everybody plays to win. They're going to play to his strengths. They're going to do what they do.
What does Fink bring to the table that you've seen on tape so far?
300 yards plus, gives those big receivers a chance to make plays, and he does a great job of it. Like I told you guys earlier, all three of their quarterbacks are throwing for over 70%. I mean, hats off to them. They didn't miss a beat.
How about Michael Pittman? Does he kind of remind you of anybody that you've faced previous years? Or
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, they got three really, more than that on the roster, big time receivers. And that's a little bit of an issue, as they got guys across the board that go and make plays, do a great job.
When they throw, to the people on the outside, those look like jump balls. Those look like one-on-ones, and anybody can get it. But is there more schematically that's going on?
They don't look like jump balls to me. I know what a jump ball looks like. You're slowing down, everybody's gathering themselves going up. Those look like strikes to me on a deep ball. Like that's the one thing I've been impressed with. A couple things, but one of the things is how they throw the deep ball. I mean, those have been very accurate deep balls in my opinion. And, that's what's impressive because I think for a lot of those guys, all you do have to do is maybe throw it up and let them jump just by, their physical stature. They're going to get some. But I think it's better than that. I think they throw strikes down the field.
I know on Monday you mentioned that maybe one of the differences between the USC air raid and Washington State's is that USC will run the ball, try and run the ball a little bit more. But passing the ball, is there anything that they put a wrinkle on?
Yeah, I mean they have a few different route concepts that maybe Washington State doesn't do, not necessarily more. I think they all do a good job pick and choosing what they want to get good at, and then they run their system. That's what I think is really good about this. I mean, is they do a great job with their system, and I think that's what helps their quarterbacks. I think that's why they've been able to play three guys and all play at a high level.
Chris, talking to guys like Nick Harris, who grew up in Southern California and were not offered scholarships by USC, I asked him, you kind of have to control the emotions, that chip on your shoulder. You even talk about that with the LA guys before a game like this?
No. I think most of our guys were offered scholarships. Nick wasn't offered scholarships by anyone, so he should have a chip on his shoulder every game, and he does. That's what I love about him. I wish all of our guys were like that. So that's the beauty of that situation.
Just the idea, though, of seeing some friends on the opposing sideline, pregame, postgame.
I think anytime, it's your hometown, whether it's the guys from Utah who are playing BYU or guys that are from Southern California, I think it means something to those guys. And they're going to have more familiarity with the guys on the other sideline, so everybody wants to put their best foot forward.
This feels like the biggest challenge for the secondary so far this year. How much have they grown since that second half versus Cal from what you've seen?
I think really it's the biggest challenge for this team in general. But certainly with those wideouts that we're talking about and how they throw the ball, I mean, this is what they do. They're a pass-first offense and does a great job with the run game. And so it is. It's the biggest challenge they've had. It's the biggest challenge a lot of our guys have had. The biggest challenge our D-line has had. So, I mean, we can just go across the board.
You've made a point of acknowledging the crowds and the fans every game. But with school in session now, this almost feels like the one game or the first game where this could actually be a massive home field advantage.
I hope. I mean, I played in a handful of games here that you walk in that stadium and you're like, whoa, this is good. This is different. And I'm really hoping this is one of those games. It should be. I mean, it's the kickoff time we want. The weather seems to be cooperating. We got a really good opponent, evenly matched teams. I mean, this is what college football is all about.
And knowing that 2016 atmosphere, are you expecting something similar to that?
Like I said, I mean, there's been a couple times, and I think when you get good opponents that people are excited about, the energy level changes a little bit. So it's, I think everybody wants to compete in those arenas.
When it comes to the freshmen that are playing, whether it's Trent McDuffie or Cam Williams, you've said the moment hasn't been too big for them. What does that look like? What do those guys show you that you know that about them?
Well, I think, Trent is, a guy that was not here in the winter or springtime and, shows up in the summertime, so you really never know about these guys until there's a lot, when they don't have spring football, there's a lot more unknown about them. And so, you're just teaching them the system in fall camp and letting them compete. You can see guys make good plays, and then you give them a little more. Sometimes a little more is too much, and a little more has been too much for them.
There's so much talk about that offense, but that defense, including Drake Jackson as a freshman coming off the edge, talk about the challenge of facing that front four that was getting home with 4 guys against Utah.
Well, and so that's what I was saying. Like, this is the best D-line without question that we've seen. And, that's not, Cal's, they got some guys for sure, but, just talent-wise, those guys, that's probably the strength of their defense. And it's interesting, a true freshman is one of the guys that flashes and really shows up, and he does that.
You and Clay recruit a lot of the same guys, obviously. Do kids make decisions based on the way this game goes on Saturday?
Probably. I would hope it's never off any one game or anything like that. I always hope it's about where a kid fits the best and feels like he can maximize his potential. I think there's a lot of places out there where kids can do that, and it's hard to figure it out when you're splitting hairs against really good, places and programs. But that's what it's really all about. It's about those guys doing their homework and doing it the right way.
Is it odd, or is it just kind of how things go that even though that you guys have a lot of kids from Cal, that there's not one kid from Washington on their team?
Yeah, I think it's cyclical. I know they've had guys, good players from Washington down there. There's a lot of players down there in Southern California, and I think you always start with your home base and see how you feel up there. I hope in the future they don't have any other guys in Washington either. So we'll keep working at that.
Hey, and is there anything to explain why you guys have been so good in that first quarter? I think it's 63-3, and it's just a ridiculous number.
Yeah, I don't know. Monday we were talking about that. It's cyclical, and I wish we played like that for 4 quarters. If we need the answer to that, we do it all 4 quarters.
We talked about the third quarter issues coming out of the Hawaii game. Different story versus BYU. You kind of feel like whatever cobwebs you have were kind of maybe cleaned up there a little bit.
I don't know. I really don't. Like I said, first quarter, third quarter, whatever. We're trying to play our best every quarter. There's good players on the other side. There's good coaches. Guys make adjustments. There's ebbs and flows of the game, and that's just kind of how it is. And that's what our guys got to be ready to do, is weather the flows. Whether it's right at the start, we don't start like we normally have been, or third quarter, it doesn't matter. We got to fight back.
That game in 2016, there's a couple of guys that played in that game. Trey and Nick, I think, were 2 of them. But do you take anything from that game, or is that just too long ago, you think?
It's pretty long ago.
Yeah.
There's some same coaches, and there's some similarities in terms of that kind of stuff, but I think everybody's involved, and certainly a lot different players.
Do you take anything from their game against BYU, seeing that there was a common opponent, or did you? Not really. It's not as much as you maybe think. I think that game helped us go to BYU. I'd like to think it never does. I would like to think that our guys are always ready, and I do. But I think when that happened over there, I think it was eyes wide open because, I think we know that what USC can bring to the table, and that's what I always talk about college football. That's any given Saturday. There's just a lot of parity these days, and that's what I think you saw over there.
You've reached the 1/3 poll of the regular season. Pleased with where the football team is after 4 games?
Like you asked me last time, I think it's always slow progress, and I think we're making progress. And test day is on Saturday against this is a big test. This is a big exam for sure, hard one. A lot of calculus out there that you have to be trying to solve. Fast and tight situations, so we'll see how we do.
That was the quarter poll last week. This is the third poll. Do you have da 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 stuck in your head all week long driving around town?
Is this thing over yet?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
It should be.